Vila stood in the medical bay and looked at the human through the glass wall. He sat on a small bed with his hands on his knees. His eyes were open, but they looked at nothing. He did not move. He did not speak. He just sat there like a broken machine. She turned to her commander. "This is my assignment, to watch a human." Commander nodded. His four eyes blinked slowly. "His name is, he is the only survivor from the colony ship Horizon. 3,000 humans died when the ship exploded. He lived." Vila crossed her arms. Her blue skin showed her anger. "I am a combat officer. I fought in 2 wars. Now you want me to be a nurse for this creature." "The Galactic Coalition wants him protected," said. "Humans are new to our galaxy. They joined us only 5 years ago. We do not fully understand them yet. This one survived something impossible. The Council wants to know how." Vila looked at the human again. He was small. His body was soft with no armor, no scales, no thick skin. His arms were thin. His teeth were flat and weak. She had read about humans before. They came from a small planet called Earth. They lived short lives. They broke easily. "He looks like prey," she said. "Perhaps," replied, "but he is now your duty. Take him to station, keep him safe. Learn what you can about him." Vila wanted to argue, but she knew it was pointless. Orders were orders. She walked to the door of the medical room and pressed the button. The door slid open with a soft sound. The human did not look up. She stepped inside. The room smelled strange. It smelled like salt and something else she could not name. Human smell, she guessed. "My name is Vila," she said. "I am your escort. We leave in 1 hour." The human said nothing. She waited, silence. "Did you hear me?" she asked. Slowly, very slowly, the human lifted his head. His eyes met hers. They were dark brown, like soil after rain, but there was nothing behind them. No light, no life, just emptiness. "I heard you," he said. His voice was quiet and flat. "Good, gather your things." He looked around the empty room. "I have nothing." Vila felt uncomfortable. She did not know why. She had seen soldiers lose everything before. She had seen death and pain and loss. But something about this human made her feel strange. Maybe it was the way he spoke. Maybe it was the way he looked at her like she was not really there. She turned and walked out. "Follow me." He followed. His steps were slow and heavy. He walked like he carried something invisible on his back, something that weighed more than his body could hold. They moved through the station. Other species watched them pass. A group of traders whispered to each other. A tall guard stared with his single eye. Everyone looked at the human. Humans were still rare in this part of the galaxy. Most species had never seen one in person. "They are looking at you," Vila said. "I know," replied. "Does it bother you?" "No." They reached the docking bay. Vila's ship waited for them. It was a small transport vessel built for speed and survival, nothing special, but it would take them to station in 3 days. She opened the door and stepped inside. The human followed without a word. The ship was simple: 2 sleeping rooms, 1 common area, a small kitchen, a cockpit. Vila showed him around quickly. "You sleep here," she said, pointing to a door. "You eat here. You do not touch the controls. You do not cause problems. Understood?" "Understood," he said. She started the engines. The ship lifted from the dock and moved into open space. Stars filled the view outside, millions of them, endless and cold. Vila set the course and leaned back in her chair. She looked at the human through the reflection in the window. He had not moved. He stood in the same place, staring at the stars. "You can sit," she said. He did not respond. She sighed. This was going to be a long 3 days. Over the next hours, she watched him. He did not eat. He did not sleep. He just sat in the corner of the common room with his back against the wall. His eyes stayed open but empty. She tried to talk to him a few times. She asked about his home, about Earth, about his family. He gave short answers, 1 or 2 words, then silence. By the second day, Vila stopped trying. She ate her meals alone. She read her reports. She checked the ship systems. She did everything she normally did on long trips, but she could not stop thinking about him. What happened to him on that ship? How did he survive when 3,000 others died? She looked at his file again. It did not say much. Name, age 32, occupation listed as unknown, medical status healthy but malnourished, mental status unresponsive. That was it, no history, no background, just a name and empty boxes. On the third day, they were 6 hours away from station. Vila was in the cockpit checking the navigation when she heard something. A sound. She turned around. The human was standing in the doorway. His eyes were different now. They were focused, sharp, alert. "Someone is following us," he said. Vila looked at her screens. They showed nothing. No ships, no signals, no danger. "There is nothing there," she said. "Check again." She was about to argue when she saw it. A small blip on the edge of her scanner, then another, then 5 more. Her blood turned cold. "Pirates," she whispered. The human looked at the screen. His face did not change. His body did not move, but something shifted in his eyes, something dark, something old. "How many weapons do you have on the ship?" he asked. Vila stared at him. "Why?" He looked at her. For the first time, she saw something behind those empty eyes, something that made her skin feel tight, something that made her heart beat faster. "Because," he said slowly, "they are going to board us, and when they do, I will need something sharp." The pirate ships came fast. They moved like hungry animals circling weak prey. Vila counted 7 vessels on her screen, 7 ships against her one small transport. The numbers were bad, very bad. She grabbed the communication device and sent an emergency signal, but she knew help would not come in time. Station was still hours away. By the time anyone received her message, she would already be dead. "We cannot fight them," she said. Her voice was steady, but her hands were shaking. "We have no weapons. This is a transport ship." The human walked to the storage room. He opened the emergency kit and pulled out a metal tool used for repairs. It was long and heavy with a sharp edge. Not a weapon, but close enough. "What are you doing?" Vila asked. "Preparing." She laughed. It was not a happy laugh. It was the laugh of someone who had accepted death. "You are going to fight 7 pirate crews with a repair tool. Are you insane?" He looked at her. His eyes were calm, too calm. "Do you have a better plan?" She did not. The lead pirate ship made contact. A rough voice filled the cockpit through the communication channel. "Transport vessel, you are now property of the Red Claw. Shut down your engines and prepare for boarding. If you fight, you die slow. If you surrender, you die quick. Choose." Vila closed her eyes. This was how it ended. Not in battle, not in glory, but on a small ship in empty space killed by criminals. She reached for the engine controls. Her fingers touched the button. "No." She looked at the human. "What?" "Do not shut down the engines," he said. "When they board, I need you to stay in the cockpit. Lock the door. Do not open it for anyone except me. You cannot be serious. There will be dozens of them. You are one human with a metal stick." He walked to the airlock door. "I have been dead for 3 months," he said quietly. "Ever since my ship exploded. Ever since I watched 3,000 people burn while I floated in the cold. I have been waiting for death to finish the job." He turned to look at her. His eyes were no longer empty. They were burning. "But if I am going to die today, I will not die on my knees, and I will not let them take you." Before Vila could respond, the ship shook hard. The pirates had attached their vessel. The boarding had begun. Stood by the airlock door. He held the metal tool in his right hand. His body was relaxed. His breathing was slow. He looked like a man about to take a walk, not a man about to fight an army. The airlock opened with a hiss. 3 pirates came through first. They were a reptile species known for their cruelty. Their scales were dark green. Their eyes were yellow. They carried plasma rifles and wore armor made of stolen parts. They saw the human and laughed. "Look at this," one of them said. "A soft skin wants to play hero." Did not speak. The lead pirate raised his rifle. "Put down the toy, little creature. We will make your death quick if you behave." Moved. Vila had seen fast things in her life. She had seen warriors strike like lightning. She had seen battle drones move at speeds her eyes could not follow, but she had never seen anything move like the human moved. He closed the distance in less than a heartbeat. The metal tool swung through the air and hit the first pirate in the throat. The fell, choking on his own blood. Before the body hit the ground, had already taken the rifle from his hands. He fired twice. 2 more pirates dropped. 4 more came through the airlock. They were shouting now. They were scared. They should be. Moved through them like wind through leaves. He did not fight like a soldier. He did not fight like a warrior. He fought like something else, something older, something that had no name. He used the rifle until it was empty. Then he used it as a club. When it broke, he used the metal tool again. When the tool bent, he used his hands. Vila watched through the cockpit window. She could not look away. She could not blink. She could not breathe. The human grabbed a pirate by the arm and twisted. The bones snapped with a sound that filled the ship. He threw the screaming pirate into 2 others. They fell in a pile. He jumped on them and his fists came down like hammers. Blood covered the walls. Blood covered the floor. Blood covered the human. More pirates came, 5, then 7, then 10. They poured through the airlock with weapons and armor and numbers on their side. It did not matter. Killed them all. He moved without stopping, without slowing, without mercy. Every strike was perfect. Every movement had purpose. He found throats and eyes and soft spots between armor plates. He turned their weapons against them. He turned their bodies against each other. The fight lasted 8 minutes. When it was over, 23 pirates lay dead or dying on the floor of the transport ship. The airlock was blocked by bodies. The air smelled like copper and smoke. Stood in the middle of the carnage. He was breathing hard now. His hands were red. His clothes were torn. There was a deep cut on his arm and another on his face. But he was alive. He walked to the cockpit door and knocked softly. "It is safe now," he said. His voice was quiet again, flat, empty. Vila opened the door. She looked at him. She looked at the bodies. She looked back at him. What are you?" she whispered. He did not answer. He walked past her to the medical kit. He pulled out bandages and started wrapping his wounds. His movements were slow and careful, like he had done this many times before. Vila followed him. Her legs felt weak. Her mind was spinning. "I have seen warriors from 100 species. I have seen killing machines built for war. None of them could do what you just did." Finished wrapping his arm, he looked at his hands. They were still shaking, not from fear, from something else. "I did not want to do this," he said. "I hoped I would never have to do this again." "Again, you have done this before." He looked at her. His eyes were wet now, wet with tears he would not let fall. "I am not a survivor," he said. "I am not a refugee. I am not what your files say I am." He sat down on the floor among the bodies. He looked so small, so tired, so broken. "Then what are you?" Vila asked. He closed his eyes. "I am what my people made me. I am what war made me. I am the thing that walks through fire and comes out the other side." He opened his eyes and looked at her. "I am a human," he said, "and we do not die easy." They did not speak for 6 hours after the fight. Vila flew the ship while sat in the corner of the common room. He had cleaned himself as best he could, but the smell of blood still hung in the air. The bodies were pushed into the airlock and sent into space. There was nothing else to do with them. When station appeared on the screen, Vila finally broke the silence. We need to talk. Looked up, his eyes were tired. Dark circles had formed under them like bruises. About what? About what happened, about you, about what you are. He shook his head slowly. You do not want to know. I do. He stood and walked to the window, stars reflected in his dark eyes. Why? So you can put it in your report, so the coalition can study me like an animal. No, Vila moved closer to him. So I can understand. I watched you kill 23 armed pirates with your bare hands. I watched you move like nothing I have ever seen. I need to understand how that is possible. Was quiet for a long moment. When he spoke, his voice was soft, almost a whisper. On Earth we had a war. Not a small war, not a border conflict. A real war, the worst war in human history. Vila listened. It started 30 years ago. I was 2 years old. By the time I was 10, half the planet was burning. By the time I was 15, I was holding a rifle and learning how to kill. He touched the glass of the window. His fingers left marks on the cold surface. We called it the Final War, because everyone thought it would end everything. And it almost did. 8 billion humans lived on Earth before the war. When it ended, only 3 billion were left. Vila felt cold. 5 billion dead. 5 billion. The number was too big to understand. How, she asked, how did so many die? Every way you can imagine. Bombs, bullets, disease, poison in the water, fire in the cities. We killed each other with everything we had. And when we ran out of weapons, we killed each other with our hands. He turned to face her. His expression was calm, but she could see the pain hidden beneath it. Pain that had been buried for years. I was a soldier, a special soldier. They took children like me and trained us from a young age. They taught us how to fight, how to survive, how to kill without thinking, without feeling, without stopping. They used children. They used everyone. By the end, there was no choice. Fight or die, that was the only law. Vila thought about the fight she had witnessed, the speed, the precision, the absolute control. Now it made sense. He was not just a survivor, he was a weapon made from flesh and bone and endless training. How long did you fight? She asked. 12 years, from the time I was 15 until the time I was 27. 12 years of war, every day, every night, no rest, no peace, just killing and dying and more killing. And then it ended. We ran out of enemies to fight. We ran out of reasons to hate. We just stopped. Those of us who survived looked around at the broken world and asked ourselves what we had done. He sat down on a bench near the window. His hands hung between his knees. I killed so many people, Vila. I do not even know the number. Hundreds, maybe thousands. I lost count after the first year. They told us we were saving humanity. They told us we were heroes, but we were not heroes. We were monsters. We were the worst thing our species ever made. Vila sat down across from him. She did not know what to say. In her culture, warriors were honored. Killing in battle was glory. But looking at this human, she saw no glory. She saw only grief. Why did you leave Earth? She asked. Because I could not stay. Every street reminded me of blood. Every face reminded me of the people I killed. I thought if I left, if I went far enough, I could forget. I could start again. I could be something other than what they made me. The colony ship. He nodded. The horizon. 3,000 people going to a new world. Farmers, teachers, doctors, normal people who wanted a fresh start. I thought I could be one of them. I thought I could leave the monster behind. His voice broke slightly. He took a breath and continued. But the ship exploded. A reactor failure, they said. Everyone died, everyone except me. How did you survive? I do not know. I was in the emergency section when it happened. The blast threw me into an escape pod. The pod sealed and launched before I could think. I floated in space for 3 weeks before your people found me. He looked at his hands. 3,000 innocent people died. Good people, people who deserved to live. And I survived. The killer survived while the innocent burned. Do you understand how that feels? Do you understand what that does to a person? Vila understood loss. She had lost soldiers under her command. She had lost friends in battle. But this was different. This was a guilt so deep it had consumed him from the inside. You blame yourself, she said. Who else is there to blame? I am cursed, Vila. Death follows me everywhere. Everyone around me dies, but I keep living. I keep surviving. No matter how much I wish it would stop. They sat in silence. The ship hummed softly around them. Station grew larger in the window. Finally, Vila spoke. When the pirates came, you could have hidden. You could have let them take me. It would have been easier. No, he said, it would not. Why? He looked at her. For a moment she saw something in his eyes that was not pain, something warm, something human. Because I am tired of surviving while others die. Because you are a living being who deserves to live. Because, he paused, because maybe this is the only thing I am good for, protecting people, fighting for people who cannot fight for themselves. You said you did not want to fight anymore. I do not, but wanting and needing are different things. I did not want to kill those pirates, but I needed to keep you safe, to keep myself from becoming the thing I hate most. What thing? A coward, a man who lets others suffer because he is too broken to act. The ship began its landing approach. Station filled the window now, a massive structure of metal and light floating in the darkness. Vila stood and looked down at the human. He seemed smaller now, more fragile. The warrior from the fight was gone, replaced by a tired man carrying the weight of 1,000 ghosts. I was wrong about you, she said. He looked up. Wrong how? I thought you were weak. I thought you were prey. I was wrong. You are the strongest person I have ever met, not because of what you can do with your hands, but because of what you carry in your heart. He almost smiled, almost. Do not call me strong, he said. Strong people do not break, and I am very, very broken. She offered him her hand. He looked at it for a long moment. Then slowly he took it. Then we will be broken together, she said. Because after today you are no longer just my duty. You are my friend. He held her hand. His grip was gentle. The same hands that had killed 23 pirates now held hers like something precious. Thank you, he whispered. And for the first time in 3 months, there was light in his eyes. Station was supposed to be safe. It was a civilian outpost, home to 12,000 beings from dozens of species. It had shops and homes and schools. It had families and children and old people enjoying their final years in peace. It was never meant to see war. But war came anyway. Vila and had been on the station for only 2 weeks when the alarm started. Red lights flashed in every corridor. Voices screamed through the speakers. Everyone ran, but no one knew where to go. They had come. Vila knew everyone in the galaxy knew them. They were conquerors, destroyers, a species that lived only for war and took only what they could take by force. For years, they had stayed at the edge of coalition space. Now they were here. 20 ships surrounded the station. Thousands of soldiers prepared to board. The station had no military, no weapons, no defense. It was a lamb surrounded by wolves. Vila found in the common area of their living quarters. He was standing by the window, watching the ships move into position. We need to evacuate, she said. The escape pods can hold maybe half the population, if we move fast. They will shoot the pods down, said quietly. They do not take prisoners. They do not allow survivors. If they are here, they mean to kill everyone. Vila felt her heart freeze. Then what do we do? Turned to look at her. His eyes were different now, clear, focused. The empty look was gone, replaced by something else, something hard. We fight. Fight with what? We have no army. We have no weapons. The security force is 50 beings with light armor and basic rifles. Then 50 will have to be enough. He walked past her toward the door. His steps were fast and certain. She followed, struggling to keep up. This is madness. They have thousands of trained soldiers. They have been fighting wars for centuries. We cannot. He stopped and turned to face her. Listen to me. I have seen impossible battles before. I have won them, not because I was stronger or faster or better, but because I refused to accept defeat. The moment you believe you cannot win is the moment you lose. Do you believe we can win? Vila hesitated. Every logical thought told her they were dead. Every calculation said they had no chance. But something in his eyes made her want to believe. I do not know, she admitted. That is good enough, let us go. They found the station commander in the central control room. His name was an older male from the species. His body was shaking. His eyes were wide with fear. There is nothing we can do, said. We should surrender. Maybe they will show mercy. They will not, said. I have read the reports on the every world they conquer, they cleanse. Every station they take, they empty. Surrender is death. Then we are dead anyway, shouted. Grabbed him by the shoulders. The commander was twice his size, but held him like he weighed nothing. Look at me, said. You have 12,000 people depending on you. Families, children, they need you to be strong. They need you to fight. Can you do that? Stared at him. Slowly the shaking stopped. The fear remained, but something else grew beside it, something like determination. What do you need? Asked. Everything, every weapon, every piece of metal that can become a weapon, every person who can hold one. We do not have time to be weak. Over the next 6 hours, transformed the station. He organized the security force into teams. He placed them at key points throughout the structure. He built barriers from furniture and metal plates. He created traps using power cables and chemicals from the maintenance rooms. Vila watched him work. She had never seen anything like it. He moved from place to place, giving orders, solving problems, inspiring people. Beings who had been crying an hour ago were now standing at their posts with weapons in their hands. How do you know all of this? She asked. 12 years of war, he said. You learn or you die. They attacked at midnight station time. They came through 3 entry points at once. Hundreds of soldiers in heavy armor with plasma rifles and blades. They expected easy prey. They expected screaming civilians running in fear. They found instead. The first wave died in the corridors. Power cables had been rigged to electrocute anyone who stepped on certain floor plates. Chemical containers exploded when hit by plasma fire, filling the air with burning gas. The soldiers choked and burned while the defenders fired from behind barriers. The second wave pushed through. They reached the main plaza, a large open area at the center of the station, was waiting for them. He fought at the front of the line. He did not hide behind others. He did not give orders from safety. He stood where the danger was greatest and cut down every enemy who came near. The defenders saw him and found courage. If this strange human could fight, so could they. The battle for the plaza lasted 9 hours. When it ended, 400 soldiers lay dead. The defenders had lost 30. It was a miracle. But they did not stop. They sent more soldiers, then more, then more. Day 2 was worse. The defenders were tired. Ammunition was low. Medical supplies were running out. They had learned from their mistakes. They did not rush anymore. They moved slowly, carefully, pushing the defenders back meter by meter. Did not sleep. He could not. Every time a section fell, he was there to hold the line. Every time morale dropped, he was there to lift it back up. His body was covered in wounds. His armor was broken, but he kept fighting. On the 3rd day, Vila found him sitting against a wall during a brief pause in the fighting. His eyes were barely open. His hands were shaking from exhaustion. You need to rest, she said. No time. You will die if you keep going like this. He looked up at her. A tired smile crossed his face. I have died before, many times, this is nothing new. She sat down beside him. Around them the station was falling apart. Fires burned in distant corridors. Screams echoed through the metal walls. But for this moment there was peace. "Why are you doing this?" she asked. "These are not your people, this is not your fight." "Everyone is my people," he said. "Every living being who wants to live, that is all that matters." The communication device crackled. A voice came through, it was rough, angry. "Human, we know you lead the defense. We have heard stories. Our soldiers are beginning to fear you. They call you the Ghost, the Death Walker, the one who cannot be killed." Press the button to respond. "I can be killed, I just choose not to be." "Surrender the station. We will give you a quick death, a warrior's death." Laughed, it was a cold laugh, empty. "Come and take it." He dropped the device and stood. His body protested, every muscle screamed, but he ignored the pain. He had been ignoring pain his whole life. "They are scared," he said to Vila. "That is good. Fear makes people weak, and we need them to be very weak." He picked up his weapon and walked toward the sound of battle. Behind him, Vila watched. She thought about the broken man she had met 3 weeks ago, the empty eyes, the quiet voice, the wish for death. That man was gone. In his place stood something else, something terrible, something beautiful. A human who refused to die. The silence came slowly. First the gunfire stopped, then the screaming, then the explosions. One by one the sounds of war faded until only the hum of the station remained, a soft, mechanical heartbeat in the darkness. Vila stood at her post in the eastern corridor. Her rifle was empty, her armor was cracked. She had not slept in 3 days, but she was alive. Against all logic, against all probability, she was alive. A voice came through the communication system. It was the station commander. "All defenders, hold your positions. They are retreating." For a moment Vila did not understand the words. Retreating. They did not retreat. They conquered or they died. That was their way. That had always been their way. But when she looked out the window, she saw it with her own eyes. The ships were moving away from the station. Their engines burned bright as they turned toward open space. They were running. They were running. Around her, the other defenders began to cheer. They hugged each other. They cried. They laughed. They had survived something impossible. They had faced an army of conquerors and won. But Vila did not celebrate. She was looking for someone. She moved through the station, stepping over bodies and broken machines. The damage was everywhere. Walls had collapsed. Fires still burned in some sections. The air smelled of smoke and death and burnt metal. She found him in the main plaza. The same plaza where the first great battle had been fought. The same plaza where 400 soldiers had died on the first night. Now it was quiet. Now it was still. Sat in the center of the room. His back was against a pile of rubble that had once been a fountain. His weapons lay scattered around him, broken and empty. His armor was destroyed. Through the gaps she could see wounds, deep wounds, wounds that should have killed him hours ago. His eyes were open, staring at nothing. For a terrible moment, she thought he was dead. Then he blinked slowly, painfully. And she saw that he was crying. Tears ran down his face, cutting lines through the blood and dirt. His hands trembled in his lap. His chest rose and fell with shallow breaths. He looked like a man who had given everything and found himself still alive. Vila walked to him and sat down. She did not speak. She just sat beside him in the silence of the ruined plaza. After a long time he spoke. His voice was barely a whisper. "How many did we lose?" She knew the number. She wished she did not. 412 defenders, 816 civilians. He closed his eyes. More tears fell. "Too many," he said, "too many. We saved 11,000. Because of you. 11,000 people will see tomorrow because you refused to let us die." He shook his head slowly. I killed so many of them. Though I stopped counting after the first day, they just kept coming, wave after wave, and I just kept killing, like a machine, like a monster. She reached out and took his hand. It was cold, wet with blood that was not all his. You are not a monster. You do not know what I see when I close my eyes, Vila. You do not know what I hear, every face, every scream. They do not go away, they never go away. The communication device crackled again. Different voices this time, coalition military channels. All stations, this is Fleet Commander. The retreat has been confirmed. Station's defense has been recorded for history. The human called has been recommended for the highest military honors in coalition history. His actions will be studied. His name will be remembered. More voices joined. News broadcasts from across the galaxy. The impossible defense of Station has shocked military experts everywhere. A single human led the resistance against overwhelming forces. Survivors describe him as unstoppable. Some are calling him a god of war. The Deathwalker, a legend in human form. The man who made the run. Reached up and turned off the device. The voices stopped. They call me a god, he said. They call me a hero. They do not understand. Understand what? He looked at her. His eyes were red from tears, empty from exhaustion, but somewhere deep inside she could still see the man she had come to know, the broken man who carried the weight of worlds. Gods do not weep, Vila. Gods do not feel the blood on their hands or hear the voices of the dead in their dreams. Gods are made of glory and light. He looked down at his trembling hands. I am made of scars and memories and endless, endless guilt. I am not a god. I am just a man who was taught to kill and never learned how to stop. She moved closer to him. She put her arm around his shoulder. He tensed at first, then relaxed into her touch. Then let them call you a god, she said. Let them build statues and sing songs. Let them remember you however they want, because I know the truth. What truth? That you are not a weapon. You are not a monster. You are not a god of war. You are a man who fought because he had to. A man who saved lives because he could not bear to watch them end. A man who cries after battle because he has a heart that still feels. She held him. When I was assigned to escort you, I thought you were my burden. Then I thought you were a warrior. Then I thought you were a weapon. But now I know what you really are. What am I? You are human, and I think that might be the most terrifying and beautiful thing in the galaxy. He let out a long breath. His body sagged against her. The weight of 3 days, of 3 months, of 30 years began to lift. Not completely, never completely, but enough. I am tired, Vila. I know. I do not want to fight anymore. Then do not, rest, heal. Let someone else carry the weight for a while. She helped him stand. His legs were weak, but she held him up. Together, they walked through the ruined plaza, past the bodies and the broken machines and the evidence of impossible victory. Outside, coalition ships were arriving. Soldiers and medics and reporters poured onto the station. They all wanted to see the human. They all wanted to meet the god of war. But Vila did not let them near him. She took him to the medical bay and stayed by his side while the doctors worked. She held his hand when he slept and watched over him when he woke. Days passed, then weeks. The galaxy continued to talk about Station, about the human who had made the run, about the god of war who had saved 11,000 lives. Heard the stories. He read the reports. He saw his face on news broadcasts across 100 worlds. And each time he turned away. Because he knew the truth that others did not see. Heroes are made in stories told by those who survive. Gods are created by those who need something to believe in. But behind every legend is just a person, broken and bleeding and hopping for peace. One night, as they sat together watching the stars through the medical bay window, Vila asked him a question. What will you do now? The coalition wants you to lead armies, to train soldiers, to become what they think you are. Was quiet for a long time, then he spoke. I want to find a small planet somewhere far away, a place with green hills and blue water and no sounds of war. I want to plant things and watch them grow. I want to forget what my hands can do. He looked at her. Will you come with me? She smiled. It was the first real smile she had worn in weeks. I was your duty once, she said. Now let me make you mine. He took her hand. His grip was gentle, the hands of a killer holding hers like something precious. And somewhere across the galaxy, beings continued to whisper about the god of war who had saved Station. But in a quiet medical bay on a broken station, there was only a tired man and the woman who had learned to see him as he truly was. Not a god, not a monster, just human. Beautifully, terribly, wonderfully human.